Welcome to South Asia. This is J. Reddy, your facilitator for South Asia in Maps. At South Asia, we bring important information about the land. South Asia or Bharat, south of Karakoram Mountains and north of Kanyakumari, in the form of images, pictures, and icons always. And we are continuing our fascinating journey in the land of five Doabs, that is Punjab or Punjab, the historic region between the Khyber Pass or Landi Kotal or Torkam to Nuh or Paliwal or Faridabad in the east, in the Delhi Ridge. This is the historic Punjab. And we are continuing our journey. And I talked about the regions of Punjab before. Many regions of West Punjab, Paschim Punjab, East Punjab, and Pahadi speaking or Kangri speaking Himachal Pradesh, Punjab part, and Haryanvi speaking Haryana like Potohar, Potwar, and Thal, and Cholistan, and Salt Range, Murray Mountains, and many rivers, most rivers we covered, and we are now concentrating on Doabs or Doabs. As this, I covered the heartland of Punjab, that is the Bari Doab, and second important Doab, Rechna Doab. Now we are covering the third important Doab, Bist Doab. And what are you going to get out of this talk? Here I am going to see the Doabs, and before the Doabs, the Doab is a combined word from Ab, the Persian word for water body, that we can say the river, and between those two rivers, when they join, the lot of area is called, there are two Abs, Doabs or Doab, that is called Doab. This is the Doab, and in certain Doabs the land is historically elevated, that is called Bar. In the Rechna Doab we saw, in the Bari Doab we saw Nili Bar and Ganji Bar across the old Bias bed. In the Rechna Doab we saw Sandal Bar, and in the Ches or Jech Doab we will see Kirana Bar later. And now we are talking about the two important rivers, the Bias River and Sutlej River. The Bias River here and Bias River, and between the Bias and Sutlej, if we combine the two words, Bias, like we can say that B and Sutlej is a Bist Doab. Bias and Sutlej, the land interflow between these two rivers is Bist Doab, or sometimes it's called Jalandhar Doab. In the eastern part of Radcliffe line, that's the symbolic line of truncated Punjab, that is Darul Harb, opposed to Darul Islam, the western part, that is West Punjab, or Ummah dominated or almost Ummah populated Illami territory populated by Mumins, that is the convert proselytes to Islam. This is the Kafiri territory, it's across the Ravi River. And in this land, and that's between the Bias River and Sutlej River, we see Doba. So coming back in the East Punjab, Doba always means a Bist Doab or Jalandhar Doab. So this is called Doba region. This is the Doba in East Punjab most of the time. They want to mention like Gurdaspur district or Pathankot district or Taran district, Amritsar. In the upper reaches of Bari Doab, that's also Doab. Most of the time they will not call Bari Doab or Upper Bari Doab. In India, the truncated East Punjab, they call simply Major region. So when in India we call Doab or Doba, we are talking about this Bist Jalandhar Doab or simply Jalandhar Doab or simply Doab, that has three important districts now after merger of the princely state. Previously there used to be a Kapurthala princely state, so this Kapurthala and Sultanpur Lodi and Pagwara enclave here. Then we have Jalandhar district, that is Jalandhar, Nakodar, Navanshar. Then the west of the Solashigi mountains are Sivalik mountains, we have Hoshiarpur district. Then Hoshiarpur district is like Dasuya, Mukherian, Hoshiarpur, at that time Yuna and Navanshar and those areas. And we see here I put the Ropar here, the Ropar, south of Satluj River, or Rupnagar or Ropar. So this is the Doba region or Doab region in the Bias. So let's look at these rivers in little bit more detail. We have, I will show you all the Google Maps. The river Bias starts south of Rohtang Pass here. Rohtang Pass continues like Manali Kulu, a small valley, Kulu Valley. At large, it cuts the Dhauladhar mountains and finally emerges out of Dhauladhar mountains near Mandi and continues south of Joginder Nagar, Gobipur and all those areas, and it hits Punjab near Mirtal. The river flows almost southeast. That means separating Gurdaspur, Amritsar on one side, Hoshiarpur or Mukherian, Dasuya and Sultanpur, Kapurthala, Sultanpur Lodi other side. At Harike Patan, the Bias now joins Satluj River. Previously Bias River used to continue and join the Chenab River, now doesn't do anymore, so it joins at Harike Patan. So the river Bias is entirely within Darul Harb, that is the Kafiri territory. Its non-Muslim population brought it to India during the Radcliffe Award distribution by Cyril Radcliffe Justice in 1947 Partition Independence Time Award. So that is, so it has three important districts: Kapurthala district, Jalandhar district, Hoshiarpur. This is the Rupnagar district. So the river Satluj comes near Manas Sarovar, goes through Sipkila Pass near Himachal Tibet border, continues, it gets in the southern part from the part the tributary northern part is the Spiti tributary, and continues in the Rampur and Suket and Mahashu regions, and hits the Bilashpur and where it is dammed at Bakra and Nangal, continued at Anandpur Sahib and Kiratpur. At Ropnagar, it completely comes into the plains, and Ropnagar continues, forms border between previously Ambala district, now Ropnagar district, Ludhiana district and Firozpur district, and separates from Kapurthala, Jalandhar and Hoshiarpur. That is in brief about the Bist Doab. Unlike other Doabs, the Bist Doab is completely within India, and you can see here more about our Bist Doab, and will expand. You see the context here is Jalandhar, that is the Jalandhar Doab or Bist Doab. Here you can see Sultanpur Lodi and Kartarpur. The Kapurthala will be somewhere here. Kapurthala will be here somewhere, and Kapurthala. Yeah, the Harike Patan is here. This is the Satluj River, and Kartarpur. In the Hoshiarpur, the Shuya here, and the river comes near Talwara at Mirtal. The river comes into the Punjab plain. This is the Sivalik mountains or Solashigi, and it is in the Kangra valley. It forms downstream. Actually, the river Bias originates in the Kulu Valley region, south of this is the Rohtang Pass. Here you can see Manali and Kulu, small valley, Kulu Valley. At Ladji it cuts, this is the Dhauladhar mountains, and it flows through the gorge in the Dhauladhar mountains. At Mandi it enters from the Dhauladhar mountains into the called Kangra Valley or Bias Valley. This is the south of the mighty Dhauladhar mountains. It's a pleasant, beautiful, much open valley. It continues its journey at Nadaun, Gobipur and so on. Northern part of the valley has Joginder Nagar and Palanpur and Kangra here, and Kangra and Palanpur, Joginder Nagar, and so on. It's a Nurpur here, Patankot here, to get you a broader idea. That is about the river Bias and river Sutlej, river and Mandi, and river Sutlej here, and Dehradun and Simla. So the river Sutlej somewhere here will be Sipkila Pass, and north of most of the time river runs north of the part. Sangla river it gets, and Spiti river it gets, and the river enters is the Rampur Valley, and Sioni and Tattapani, and then the river continues, enters into Bilaspur territory, former princely state of Bilaspur. You see Rampur here, and you see Rampur and Simla. It forms the border between Simla district and Solan in the south, Mandi district in the north, Rampur the river, and the river, the former princely state of Bilaspur, it dammed at Bakra and Nanga, and it skids the Anandpur Sahib, where one of the famous Takht of Khalsa Ji resides, and continues at Kiratpur. At Rupnagar, the river falls into the plains, is the place where Maharaja Ranjit Singh physically met William Bentinck, the Governor General of Fort Williams, Presidency of Fort Williams, that is the Bengal Presidency, Governor General of British East India Company, forms the parallel between Rupnagar district, Ludhiana district, and Hoshiarpur district. The British has their major cantonment in Ambala here and Ludhiana south of this river, and Firozpur, and finally they annex. The crossing of the Sutlej means entering into Maharaja Ranjit Singh territory, or Khalsa Raj or Khalsa Sarkar at Lahore. South of Sutlej is the British East India Company territory, or its protectorates like Bahawalpur princely state ruled by a Nawab, and Patiala princely state, Nabha princely state, and Jind princely state, and so on. That is, in brief, about our Bist Doab, Bist Jalandhar Doab, between the Bias river and the Sutlej river, and we talked about the third Doab. This is the very small Doab. It is within the Indian territory, and historically it was very important because olden time there was no canal colony districts and so on, because it received the large amount of rainfall interrupted by the Sivaliks and Himalaya mountains. So well watered. So Jalandhar city was a very historic city even before the Lahore and Bathinda and so on. So that is the Bist Doab or Jalandhar Doab or Doab or Doba region. Within the Punjab we have Doba region, Majha region, and South Malwa region and Pawad region, and East Punjab or Purbi Punjab, truncated Punjab of east of Radcliffe Line or Ravi River. So that's what we wanted to discuss today about the Doab, and we'll continue our fascinating journey in the land of Maharaja Ranjit Singh in the coming years. Meanwhile, please send your compliments and criticisms how we can make this channel very educative and informative for the audience. Your input is very important to make our educative channel more interesting. As usual, the main map got from Wiki MLA educational site, and most of the rivers and the drawings and other things I made for your easy understanding. This is about the Bist Jalandhar Doab of Punjab, which has 5 Abs or Panj Abs, that is the historical Punjab, from the Landi Kotal Torkam Jamrad in the Khyber Pass region to Delhi Ridge overlooking the Braj territory in Faridabad. Thank you very much, and see you later.